Hey YouTube, it's Zen Maiden. Hopefully you guys are all doing well. You doing well? I'm doing okay. It's Friday and a payday Friday, so that's all good. Coming to you from my office. So let's see, catching up where we left off. I'm still on the road to my gastric bypass, and for those of you who don't know me, welcome to my channel. I'm a former sleever and currently a sleever for the last 10 years. I had my original sleeve surgery on 11/15/11. So now, due to some circumstances, some within my control, and some that weren't so much in my control, I've experienced some regain, and I have some actual physical issues related to my sleeve that are causing me to need to necessitate getting the gastric bypass surgery. So, my original height weight was 252 when I first got the sleeve. I got down to about 175 and stayed there around 175, 180, 185 for a number of years, probably about 7 years. Then I slowly started gaining a little more, changing jobs and things happening in life. I wasn't as careful as I should have been. And then along came my husband. We met, fell in love, and got too happy. So started eating things that people 6'2" can eat and maybe get away with it. But I'm only 5'4". So needless to say, I consider myself an overeater, and that means I'll have a little too much, a little too often. But I've never been able to consume really large quantities of anything since my sleeve. So have I been happy with my sleeve? Yeah, it's pretty easy to live with. I mean, other than the initial part where you come out of surgery and can't eat for a while. I didn't feel well for a long time, but once all that went away, I lived a pretty normal life and really tried hard to get to goal. Never made it. So that's my story. And here I am again, starting in 2021. Hopefully going to get my surgery date by November 2021. I have a different surgeon this time. I've changed insurance. And so I've decided I'm going to get the gastric bypass. It makes the most sense for me. I was originally planning to get a revision to the DS, which you may see some of my videos. I was super excited about that. But apparently, the doctor, who's very experienced in doing DS, looked at my situation, my history, my GERD, and high blood pressure and so forth, and he made it, an expert opinion formed in his mind that it probably wasn't worth the risk for me to do the DS at this point in my life versus the gastric bypass, which would resolve, hopefully, my acid reflux, which is pretty bad. And, of course, losing a lot of weight will cause you to lose your high blood pressure, too. So those are my two main comorbidities. Additionally, found out recently that I have an hourglass-shaped stomach, which means that the original tube of the sleeve was formed, little tube. And then in the middle, over time, the ends became a little more stretchier, but the middle didn't. So it's like an hourglass. So in the middle is like a smaller part that doesn't stretch. And then the two ends stretch a little bit. So over time, he said that all pouches do stretch out. So mine wasn't like excessively stretched, but it's just that I have that issue with the hourglass stomach, they call it. And they watched it and identified it by looking on the GI, where you swallow the contrast dye. And they take pictures while you're swallowing, and then they have you lay down on this x-ray table, and they take more x-rays while you're laying there. And they watch the food go back up, which is what to prove the GERD. So they do have the medical evidence, which I guess they need for my insurance to justify the surgery. Right now my BMI is like 37 and change. I'm around 216 presently. I've lost 13 pounds of my regain. And my plan is to hopefully get off another 20 to 25 before November, and you guys can hold me accountable. I'm doing, kind of doing like going back to basics. You know, eating, my breakfast is the biggest meal of the day, and I have usually eggs and keto toast. And 10:30, I have a snack, usually some type of meat rolled with a little piece of cheese. And that's what I've been doing this week. And then for lunch, I'll have a Premier Protein shake. And for dinner, I'll have some kind of either a salad with a little piece of meat, about the size of the palm of my hand, about 4 ounces or approximately, fish or meat and vegetable. And that will be it. So what I consume to drink right now is water and, of course, I'm well known for this, my Americanos, and I still drink them. And I still use half and half, but I don't use it excessively. So anyway, guys, that's my story. I've kind of given you the nutshell version. I hope that I'll be able to resolve some other things too that have happened as I gotten older. You know, I've developed arthritis in my feet. I probably had that back in 2011 too. Well, actually I did. And it just got worse. It got better when I lost a lot of weight. It felt a lot better, but it was still there, and it's progressed. So now I'm 10 years older, and so the arthritis in my feet is 10 years worse. And so I'm trying to avoid mid-foot fusion surgery because my arthritis is mainly in the midfoot. Very uncomfortable with every step. And as I'm losing weight, I've got my fingers crossed on both sides and my toes that I'll be able to lose enough weight where the pain will be, take it down a few notches, would make it a little bit more bearable. And that's what I'm really hoping, because midfoot fusion surgery is a lot of time off your feet, like 8 to 12 weeks without walking. And then trying to relearn to walk in a boot and so forth. And boots and I have never, no, not something I want to undertake. And plus I believe it could be kind of dangerous too, because if it doesn't fuse, then, you know, you have this foot that's got all these broken bones, and no, I'm not thinking that that's going to serve me well. So anyway, that's some of the things I'm hoping for, in addition to losing the weight, that getting some of these other health problem issues out of my way. So that's where I'm at. So let me tell you where I'm at in the journey to gastric bypass. I did select a doctor for gastric bypass. He's very nice, and he has a boutique practice out in Thousand Oaks, California, not too far from where I'm located. So he was referred by Dr. Kashishian, the DS doctor, who I originally went to, and he feels the gastric bypass will be a good fit for me, and I'm excited. So I've had, I had 2 of the, 1 EDG where they take the scope down your throat, look around. And I had 2 of the swallow tests where you drink the contrast dye and they take pictures. And I've had an ultrasound of my gallbladder, which is good. And I've had lots of blood work. I had all the vitamin blood work done for the DS, where they checked every level, and nobody told me that I was deficient, so hopefully I'm good. And then I've had additional blood work for a lipid panel and H. pylori, where you breathe into the bag. They check to make sure you don't have that going on in your stomach. And hold on a second. In my new surgeon's plan, they suggest the app Berrytastic, and I've tried it on my iPhone, and it's really good. You can set up alarms for water, you can set up alarms for protein drinks, you can set up, and it's very easy to log your food. It's kind of like my Fitness Pal, but it's actually easier, because I can just touch the little microphone thingy and say 1 egg, 2 keto toast, 1 teaspoon butter, you know, whatever. And so it records it for you. And then you can also manually add it. But I really like that app. The other thing I've been using is Doc Hale's protein. It's Doc Hale, H-A-L-E, apostrophe S. It's unflavored, 90 calorie, very low carb, tasteless protein. I love tasteless because I can put it in everything. It blends well in my coffee, and it doesn't taste like whey protein. The true test was yesterday. I threw it into my romaine lettuce salad with vinegar and oil. I had crouton, feta cheese, a couple pieces of walnut, and 7 pieces of low-fat salami, or half-fat, 70 calories for the salami. So that was my dinner, and that was amazing. It was 1 cup greens, and I just threw the scoop of the Doc Hales protein in the salad, and voila, I had all that extra protein, 25 grams extra protein, without doing a thing, and it was tasteless. So if it can pass my salad test and the coffee test, this is some great stuff. It's about $49 for the big, the big tub, thing. You get a couple pounds of it for that much, and I really, really like it. So I had tried lots of other kinds. I even had some Isopure, which is okay. I think I'm going to use that up making like chocolate fruit or fruit shakes or green shakes. I'll put it in there versus something where I'm, I'd rather not use the whey tasting protein in a drink where I'm trying not to taste it. I'd rather put it in there where it's going to be covered up by another flavor. That's what I was trying to get at. So anyway, that's a really great thing. In addition to that app, 2 cool things that I found out. And I have 5 nutritionist visits that I have to do. I've done 2. I'm having my 3rd one on Tuesday. And then I have to have 1 in September and 1 in October. And they have to be spaced 120 days minimum from the first one, June 30th, to the last one, which will be October 29th. So I made it 121 days just to be sure, so that my insurance will be all set and I will have satisfied all the requirements. So the last thing I have to get, let's see what else where did I leave off? Okay, I also had to get a chest x-ray. I had an echocardiogram. I had a EKG for my heart, and I got a cardiac clearance. So maybe some of you younger people won't need that, but I'm up there, so I needed it. So the only thing I have left to do is an A1C, and I'm not diabetic, but I guess they want that on record. And the physical. I have to get the doctor's physical, my PCP physical, and then I'll have everything in except for the last 2 nutrition visits, which they send them directly to the doctor. So once my doctor, I'm using Dr. Amir Mehran, M-E-H-R-A-N, in Thousand Oaks. He has, again, a boutique practice for bariatrics called University Bariatrics in Thousand Oaks, California. And from what I can see, it's very individualized, the treatment that you get and service you receive from the doctor. It's very, there's nothing where you feel like you're in a herd of people being moved through, like a gate. Nothing like that. So it's really been a great change. My other surgeon was very busy, and there's always tons of people around. This particular surgeon, he may be busy, but you don't feel like he's too busy for you. So I'm really going to appreciate that. Like post-op, if I have an issue, question, concern, I'll be able to call and get the answer. Someone will call me back, or I'll be able to reach him directly. And that'll be awesome. I'm a little concerned that I'm going to be sick after surgery. And the reason I'm concerned is because I was real sick after the gastric sleeve. I had so much nausea in the hospital, I could barely drink anything. Everything made me feel sick. I laid there feeling sick for 3 days and walked around feeling sick. And I did throw up once, the contrast dye at the hospital back when I had the sleeve. It was horrible. So my gastric sleeve experience was not that pleasant. And then when I came home, I was still feeling sick all the time. Not pain, sick, nausea. Pain medicine makes me nauseous too. So the more you press that thing, the sicker I feel. So I'm really hoping that they can give me something for nausea, this time in advance, where maybe I'll wake up and I won't be feeling quite so sick. And then when it comes time for me to sip, drink my water, hopefully I'll be able to. Last time I just had tons of IB bags because I couldn't drink any water. And I had like all these water bottles stacked up on my tray and all these protein shakes. I drank maybe half of an 8-ounce water bottle in 3 days. I couldn't drink it all. So, yeah, I'm really hoping that things are different this time. And I can just hope. Well, I don't have that nausea when I get knocked out a different way. When they use the propofol, you know, like for a colonoscopy or some other surgery where you're in more of a twilight sleep, that doesn't bother me at all. I wake up feeling great. But when they do the intubation and they knock you out with that general anesthesia, I wake up feeling crappy. And I'm not looking forward to it. So anyway, guys, I've rambled now for 15 minutes. I'm enjoying watching your journeys. If anybody has any questions or comments, please leave them. If you want to know anything about me or my revision or, you know, what my experience was going for the DS and then changing it to the RNY and all that, I can fill you in further details if anyone's interested. It's not that interesting. But anyway, I'm hoping that I'm making the right decision by not changing doctors and getting a DS elsewhere. I'm starting to believe that the DS would be maybe too powerful for me, given the fact that I am going to be living in South America, Central America, in the next few years with my husband. I want to make sure I will be able to find the proper medical care if I need it, because some of those locations are 4 or 5 hours from a hospital. And, you know, getting older, I'm thinking it might be smarter to live closer to a hospital, and one that will be able to attend to my bariatric needs too, in case, you know, there is a complication down the road, because, you know, nothing is given. And all these surgeries, that the more complicated the surgery is, the more complicated the list of complications gets. And it's not just post-op. It could be a year down the road, 2 years down the road, 3 years. You know, stuff happens, and I'm just trying to be prepared. So anyway, guys, this veteran speaks. Work on your regain, everybody, if you got it. It's hard, and you can do it if I can do it. 13 pounds down so far, guys. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Don't bring that stuff in your house. That's tempting for you. If soda's your thing, don't bring it home. If chocolate's your thing, don't bring it home. If bread's your thing, bring home some bread you don't really like. You can just use a little piece when you have to, you know, for a recipe or something. Anyway, guys, have a great week. I'll talk to you soon, and I'll give you an update and a product review. I've got a product review for you coming up. Talk to you soon.